Namaste, Vanakkam, Assalamu Alaikum. As fourth-generation South Africans of Indian descent, the South African Indians team decided to highlight the successes of the Indian community. This video compilation brings together the variety and versatility of the indentured descendants. Their hard work, dedication, and determination, despite the struggles and through all the adversities, ventured forth with unshakable courage and resilience. They have made an invaluable contribution to the fabric of our society, the country, and the world at large. We salute you, our forefathers and mothers, for if it was not for you, we would not be here. We thank you.
Hello, my name is Rajesh Gopie, and I am the director and author of the Coolie Odyssey. I think this is an important play because it gives us a way of actually seeing real people, hearing their voices, and going on a journey with them, something that we have never been able to experience as South African Indians. We know very little of our forefathers, and by bringing this play to you, I wanted the children of today to experience what their forefathers went through. It's important that we have a legacy. It's important that we know the lineage we come from. It's also important that we're not ashamed of our past. It's a really, really important 160th commemoration, and I'm very proud to present the Coolie Odyssey as part of this commemoration to mark this very special event. I hope people will watch, and I hope that you will experience 2 hours of a theatrical journey that takes you into the heart of indentured labor and the journey that our forefathers took from India and the pains they went through to be in this land so that we can be here today. Thank you.
So she convinced him in a way only women know how. Talking from the heart. This wasn't a Bollywood story after. I began to see real people, real lives, and this Rambilass character, he was starting to grow. But back to the story. They gave themselves to a local agent who put them on a small boat packed tightly on the river Ganga. Africa waits, eh?
Ganga Maiya Tiharo Daras Mohe Bhai. Ganga Maiya Tiharo Daras Mohe Bhai. Tiharo Daras Mohe Bhai. Tiharo daras mohe bhai. Ganga Maiya Tiharo daras mohe bhai.
He spoke of names of places my ears have never heard before. Kanpur, Allahabad, Haridwar, Rishikesh, Varanasi, and then finally Gangasaka, the great ocean city of Calicut. Here was spewed out on the quayside with hundreds of others.
Alright, you lot, line up here. Each take one of these. They contain your blanket, your cup, your plate, and your spoon. Alright, line up, line up. Name?
Lal Bahadur Jivanattam.
Lal Bahadur Jivanattam.
You can call me Ladu.
Alright, Ladu. You have been made aware of the terms of this contract of agreement. Understand? That is an order.
Respect, sir. It's Ladu.
Yes, yes. Thumbprint, please. Coolie number 13611. Yes, yes. While on the ship and when reporting to the Coolie immigration officer or being examined by the doctor, you will show this number. This is how you will be identified as your official reference when on the ship. And hold it up in front of you when you photograph.
Photograph? Sir, what is that?
Don't fear, boy, it won't hurt. Next.
Sir. Ramlal Khilari.
Ramlal Khilari. Papers, please, Mr. Calamari. Are you traveling alone?
No, sir, I'm traveling with my wife, Sangam.
Sangam! Thumbprint, please, Mrs. Coolie number 13612.
No, sir. We want to stay together.
Married couples will stay together, don't fear, boy. Thumbprint.
I can write my own name, sir.
Nice. An educated coolie. Well, well, well. May I ask what it is that you're carrying on your arm?
Books, sir.
Books. What are you going to do with books? Do you have any idea where you're going? Yes, not. Show them to me. Jonathan Swift, huh? Barnabas Travels. Homer's Odyssey. You read the Greek?
Yes, sir. And you, sir?
Never finished it. Move along. Next. Well, are you coming or not? You're holding up the line. If not, get out of the line. Next, correct.
Next! Ganga,
All right, Gangadine. Thumbprint, please. Coolie number 13614.
With due respect, sir, Coolie is a potter. I'm not a potter, I'm a dancer. My family have been dancers for 500 years.
What did you say?
I'm a dancer, sir, not a coolie.
Did you hear that, chaps? He's a dancer. A good old-fashioned natural. All right. Give us a J. Come on. Give us a J.
Give us a J.
Oh, seems our natural is a bit shy. All right. We'll help you then. Come on, take it off.
Take it off.
Take it off. Take off your
Take it off.
Come on. Swing those hips. Seems our natural is stage fright. Move along.
Ganga bhai.
You chaps never cease to amaze me. I don't know about Homer's Odyssey, but welcome to the Coolie Odyssey. Next!
During the day, the men will be taken to work on deck. The women will be assigned duties of cleaning.
Say we want to say separate from the other class. We were promised by the agent.
Are you marking chart? It's your father's house, but your caste high and low end of the day you walk on the ship. Here you eat from the same pot and ship in the same old market. Now separate. Woman on the right, men to the left.
Hello, my name is Laddu. Please, sir, what is he saying?
Woman on the right, men to the left. Your sleeping allocation is marked the same as your coolie number. Chalo, men to the left, woman on the right.
This is not fact. We will not be separated. We were promised.
This is for protection of the woman. Don't worry. No one will finger your guard. It's the rules. Things happen now if you don't follow rules. Now separate. Woman on the right, men to the left.
No, not fact. We will
Now, join me as we pray for you and for all South African Indians. Let's bow our heads as we pray. Father, I'm praying for every person that is listening to this message right now. The current pandemic turmoil will not prevail against us. The current financial crisis will not prevail against us. Our grandparents overcame greater obstacles than what we are facing today, and they prevailed. We have inside us what it takes to be successful. We are purpose-driven people. We are fighters. We are overcomers as South African Indians. I take away every fear and depression in Jesus' name. And I thank you that in our lifetime, we will leave a legacy behind for our children to follow, just like our grandparents and parents have left us as a legacy. We thank you for this, Father. Amen and amen.
فلما وضعتها قالت رب إني وضعتها أنثى والله أعلم بما وضعت وليس الذكر كالأنثى وإني سميتها مريم وإني أعيذها بك وذريتها من الشيطان الرجيم فتقبلنا ربنا بقبول حسن وأنبتنا نباتا حسنا وكفلنا زكريا
Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyaya Namaha. Om Shri Gurudeva Namaha. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Gananatva Ganapati Vamhavamahe Priyanatva Priyapati Vangavamahe Nidinatva Nidipati Vangavamahe Vasomamam Jani Garbadamatva Majasi Garbadam Om Bhurvasva Ganapate Namo Namaha Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Saka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Travinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Papu Aham Papa Karmaham Papatma Papa Sambhava Trahi Mama Parvati Nath Sarva Papo Haru Bhava Shri Har Har Mahadev Ki Jai. Om Shanti 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 Om.
Namaste, Vanakkam, Om Shri Sai Ram and Hare Krishna to all of our South African Indians who are celebrating 160 years of arriving in South Africa. I'd like to start off with the prayer and then a short message after that. Om Bhu Bhuvaswaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I greet you all in the name of love and light, and I want to wish all our South African Indians a happy celebration of 160 years of arriving in South Africa. And I think that these 160 years have proven to us just how resilient we can be, how brave and how strong we can be as a community. The prayers that I've recited ties in very much with the challenges and the struggles and how our forefathers overcame those through prayer. The Om Bhuvasvaha was a prayer that is recited to illumine the mind, to make sure that we are strong and firm in terms of whatever we decide to do, knowing that we have God on our side. Asato ma sadgamaya, to lead us from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, and eventually from death to immortality. Our forefathers have really put a lot of effort into building a community, leaving their homes behind, leaving everything behind, and rebuilding in a foreign land. And we become the benefactors of their labor, of their toils, their hardships. And I want to say to all South African Indians, never forget where you've come from. We have risen to where we are in all facets of life because we have stood on the shoulders of giants that may have been uneducated in the formal sense, but they have proven by our own success just how great their vision was to create a better future for all. So I wish you all well, and I hope that we continue to build on the legacy of our forefathers that came here as indentured laborers, but now see us as South African Indians in prominent places in society, in government, and being able to give back to our communities while at the same time prospering ourselves. I wish you well. Thank you. Namaste, Vanakkam, Om Shri Sai Ram, and Hare Krishna to all of you.
Greetings. Soon we will be celebrating and commemorating the 160th anniversary of the Indentured Arrival Day. It's a given that the further you are from a historical event, the memory loss is greater. As a minority in a plural society, we need to make greater efforts to survive. And the detachment and amnesia of the sufferings of our people on the sugarcane plantations, the relentless physical and dehumanization they suffered, and the resilience shown in coping with the pre-dawn to dusk tasks should be a lesson for all of us, especially the 4th and 5th generation. Today, we are better equipped to cope with hardships and challenges as long as we take a leaf out of the struggles of our pioneers who overcame all odds during the indentureship period. A visit to the 1860 Heritage Centre in Derby Street, Durban will be an eye-opener to everyone. The exhibits will take you back to a forgotten past, a painful era. The lessons you'll learn from the 2 floors of multimedia presentations will urge you to look back to the past. The empathy the exhibits will evoke will spur you on to solve problems, to coexist in the South Africa of today and the South Africa of the future. Thank you.
Namaste. Let us all dedicate Diwali this year to the celebration of 160 years of our arrival in South Africa. The journey of the Girimitia or indentured laborer was described as the crossing of the Kala Pani, the dark waters, a symbolic and appropriate name for a daring and risky adventure our forefathers were brave enough to undertake to an unknown future. They traveled across a sea of dark uncertainties from adversity to prosperity. After making tremendous sacrifices in the struggle for liberation, contributing actively and significantly to the economy, building schools in rural areas, homes for aged and homeless, running free medical clinics and camps, sinking boreholes in rural villages and schools, we still face political uncertainty in a country being strangled by the rampant corruption of ruthless politicians. We have made a full circle and returned to the point where we have to fend for ourselves and provide for our needs. We have come to realize that if we wait for the government to help us improve our lives, it will be a painful and futile expectation. The most important legacy of our fathers or forefathers is that of building schools and temples to ensure a bright future for our children through education, and strong cultural and family values for our personal well-being, traditions, and a sense of community. A part of this effort is the Westville Hindu Primary School, a private school with excellent facilities for academics, sport, and culture. I invite you to visit the school website, and also for information on your culture, a site called vedasandsanskrit.com. Let us celebrate our 1860 heritage by being proud of our identity. Congratulations, may we all grow and prosper together and be ever grateful to our ancestors for their bravery, strength, and courage. Namaste.
Namaste to all our Hindu youth in South Africa. As we know, this year marks the arrival of the Indian settlers in South Africa. And theirs was an awesome journey to migrate to another country where they knew nothing about, but were still able to exert their capacity under such difficult circumstances, almost being brought here by slaves, as slaves. Now, we have to take an example from the page of these pioneers, because they came with the genetic history and capacity of an ancient tradition, which is the Indian culture. These qualities that they brought set them up for success, even though it was so many years later. And so my advice to our youth is that you need to be able to understand the future in this country is not bleak. Each man creates his or her own reality, and therefore you need to draw on the strength of character that your forefathers have brought through the traditions. Study it and become aware of how amazingly capable and the possibilities were for them. They took every opportunity and they mastered their environment. Now, you and I can do the same thing. We can't live as whining individuals, blaming the political system, blaming the economy, blaming the lack of opportunity, etc. These were poverty-stricken people that came here, and look what they did with their lives. And so we urge all our youth never to become despondent, never to feel as though life is overwhelming. There's much that you can do if you put your shoulder to the wheel. Learn from mentors around you as to how you can succeed in this life and make a better life for yourself. Your forefathers bring this ancient cultural heritage and asset through your genetics. You are carrying every capacity of possibility within you. This has all been done before. You need to activate it and show it in your own lives. I wish you all well. Remember where we have come from, an ancient tradition that has served our people so well. No other culture on earth has this kind of ancient, successful tradition. Identify it, follow it.
எல்லோருக்கும் வணக்கம். என் பெயர் உஷா முட்லி. நான் ஜானஸ்பர்கில் வசிக்கிறேன். My humble greetings to one and all. My name is Usha Moodley from Johannesburg. நான் சென்னையில் பிறந்து வளர்ந்து தென்னாப்பிரிக்காவில் 29 ஆண்டுகளாக வாழ்ந்து கொண்டிருக்கிறேன். I born and brought up in Chennai and living in South Africa for past 29 years. நான் ஒரு தமிழ் ஆசிரியர். I am a Tamil teacher. இங்கு தென்னாப்பிரிக்க தமிழர்கள் நீங்கள் எல்லோரும் பின்பற்றும் கலை கலாச்சாரம் இவற்றை எல்லாம் பார்த்து நான் மிகவும் பெருமைப்படுகிறேன். I'm so proud to know that South Africans we all follow all the rituals and the tradition still keep going for 160 years. 160 ஆண்டுகள். ரொம்பவும் சந்தோஷம். I feel very happy and proud. உங்கள் யாராவது தமிழ் கற்க விருப்பமாக இருந்தால் என்னை நீங்கள் முகநூலில் மூலம் என்னை தொடர்பு கொள்ளலாம். So if you or anyone like to interest to learn Tamil, I am offering the online lessons as well. Please contact me via messenger. It's Usha Moodley. இந்த வாய்ப்பு அளித்ததற்கு மிக்க நன்றி. எல்லோரும் வாழ்க வளமுடன். Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Namaste, namaskaram, vanakkam, assalamu alaikum, greetings to all. We have reached yet another milestone in our very rich Indian heritage. 160 years has passed since our forefathers took the very bold leap of faith of leaving their beloved India seeking greener pastures in South Africa and in particular Natal. There will be many of us today that will talk about that history, but I want to focus on a very basic lesson that we can learn from these great souls, and that is perseverance. One can only imagine their circumstances on their arrival to this unbeknown land, which they will now call their home. We all know that the promises that were made in India and the treatment that they would receive in South Africa was not always accurate. There were three things that Indians were and to a large extent still are very passionate about, and that is family, prayer and education in no particular order. Despite exceedingly difficult circumstances, they persevered in maintaining these three values. Firstly, they forged new family ties, they made friends, and they held the family unit together. And they ensured that they faced all challenges with bravery together. Despite not having places of worship, their worship never stopped. Whether that worship took place at their compounds or on the open sugarcane fields. And they ensured that their children were educated. Even without formal education systems, schooling or funding, etc. They always ensured that their children were well taken care of. sometimes making huge sacrifices to ensure that their children had more than what they had. You will all agree that to a large extent we have continued to follow in the footsteps of our forebears, particularly in these three aspects. Today we find ourselves living in very challenging times, politically, economically, and this year, COVID-19. During these times where we feel like everything goes against us, we must, as our forefathers did, persevere to overcome these challenges. Through strong family ties, relying on family, relying on prayer, relying on worship, we can achieve all of this. Remember, we are all branches of one tree with one single root. Congrats to us all in keeping our rich Indian heritage alive. James.
I am Dr. Siva Moodley, founder and senior pastor of the Miracle Center Church here in Randburg, South Africa. And I am a proud South African Indian. My family's history is identical to many of you watching. My grandfather was plowing the field when he noticed a group of people walking towards the harbor. He asked them where they're going, and they told him they were going to the new country, South Africa, to work as indentured laborers. My grandfather threw down his plowing equipment without even telling his mother goodbye and came to South Africa by joining this group. He literally came to South Africa with his shirt on his back. Later on, he regretted why he never said goodbye to his mother. Life was hard here in South Africa, especially in apartheid time. And our grandparents soon realized that indentured labor was a type of slavery. Yet, rather than complain, rather than become depressed and down, the Indians who came to South Africa had a winning mindset. This is what separated them from other groups. When education was almost non-existent, we educated our children. When money was non-existent, we made a plan. When crime was a problem, we protected each other in community. When there was no food, we worked miracles. I want to show you something I discovered recently. I have with me 2 slices of bread. One on my left is buttered, and the one on the right is not buttered. Suppose I gave this to you and said, let's have some bread and tea. Which one would you select? I know most of you would select the buttered bread. And why is that so? Other race groups would generally prefer this one. But Indians prefer and it's a general statement, Indians prefer the buttered bread. Why is that so? Because I believe, and this is a theory, and I've spoken to many people, but I believe our parents and our grandparents that came to South Africa were so poor that they did not have food for supper for many of us. All they had in their home was just bread. So for supper, they would take the bread, they would butter it and give it to us. And we would go to bed feeling full, having eaten buttered bread. And so it became a tradition among us to always butter our bread. And I know some of you butter the cakes and whatever they give you, you love to apply butter on it. Why? Because this is something that came into our heritage, into our culture as South African Indians. Other groups just complained and rebelled, but we turned our situation around. Even in eliminating apartheid, we played a major role in providing much of the strategy. People often talk about great Indians in America and other parts of the world, people who have made advances in the IT sector, people who have done great achievements being the CEO of major companies. And I always see, especially on social media, why we should be proud of all these wonderful Indians. And yes, we should be proud of them. But I believe the greatest Indians are not those, but you guys, the South African Indians. There is a song that says, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And that's you guys. The South African Indians understand that winners never quit. Because you see, quitting is never an option for us. Our grandparents never quitted. It was tough. There was no provision in the home. There was no security. Their lives were threatened quite often. But they prevailed. They had an overcoming mindset. And somehow, that mindset has come down the generations. Now, I'm a third generation South African Indian, and maybe you watching me, you might be a third or a fourth generation. The South African Indians understand that winners never quit, because quitting is never an option for us. This path has not been easy for our grandparents, our parents, for us. It has not been an easy road. It has been difficult. But the spirit inside us, the spirit of overcoming, the spirit of prevailing is strong inside us. It's strong within our values. We do not quit when we face obstacles. And this is something that's very true of us here in South Africa. The ability to succeed is a natural, God-given instinct inside us. As a church and a ministry, our daily TV program is the most watched Christian TV program coming out of South Africa. And so we are told by the television networks. We are on several DSTV television networks, and our program runs daily, not just here in South Africa, but globally. Our daily TV program reaches 139 countries on 4 continents. We were the first local TV program to be on both DSTV channels. So we have continuously broke boundaries, and even our live stream reaches over 100,000 people weekly. The spirit of overcoming and dominating runs in my blood. And I know it runs in you if you are a South African Indian. I'm proud of our heritage. I'm proud of what our grandparents have achieved. And I'm proud of what our South African Indians will achieve in the next 160 years. When you are in Johannesburg, come and visit us. Go to silvermoodley.com for more information. We'd love to see you. We'd love to meet you. Goodbye. God bless.
It is a great privilege to send this greeting on the occasion of the 160th anniversary of the arrival of Indian indentured labourers to South Africa. The establishment of the parish of St. Aidan's is closely linked to this history. It was founded as a part of a wider mission, which included a hospital and schools to serve the new immigrants who came to the city of Durban and beyond. Some of the early pioneers among the Indian labourers belonged to this parish, and they did much with members of other faith communities to serve all peoples in our land and to begin the long struggle for freedom. Our founder, the Reverend Dr. Lancelot Booth, was supported in his humanitarian work by Mahatma Gandhi and others, and has left a rich legacy which continues to inspire us today. May we value our histories as part of our common and shared inheritance, and may we build one nation founded on justice, equality, peace, and love. God bless.
When I used to watch Western movies, I used to clap when the cowboys killed the Indians. But now I know that the Indians were the victims. I'm a political cartoonist. I've been a cartoonist for 35 years. I was a football fanatic. In those days, there wasn't any television. So I used to come back home and sketch the moves on the wall with charcoal. I actually won an art competition when I was 9 years old. I became a cartoonist because of the situation in the country. I even did an exhibition on the Group Areas Act. It was so traumatic having to move out of your house. You didn't realize it was because you were of a different color. Soon after that, I went to Brazil, and then I went to New York. It was an unconscious journey. I just drew what I wanted to draw, and I did become an artist and a painter. I was the first black published cartoonist in this country during apartheid. Eventually, I became the cartoonist of the Daily News. I have a bullet hole in my window to show the hassles that cartoonists get. As a painter, I reflect life as I see it. As a cartoonist, I challenge the status quo. I don't reflect it. Hello everyone. I just want to say I'm so proud to be a part of this Indian diaspora that came down to South Africa as slaves. We were in an amazing struggle to survive, and yet we fought in another struggle against apartheid. And coming out of that struggle, we were able to achieve so many things. Now we play the United Nations human rights judge, Kumi Naidu, Ronnie Governor at Papwa, the best golfer in the world, Durban, the greatest soccer ride this country has ever seen. It's such an amazing feeling to be a part of this amazing community. Thank you very much. I'm so proud and privileged.
Hi, I'm JJ Mathura, actress, businesswoman. My favorite title, Mom. I want to say congratulations to all of us. 160 years. It's a long time. We've achieved a lot. We've become part of a society that is a melting pot of cultures. And yet we've been able to hold on to our own. Let's hope that we can pass it on to our children and grandchildren as we all celebrate being South African Indians and also celebrate where we come from, who we are. I wish you all the very best going forward.
Hi, this is PJ Governor on the set of Legacy for Mnet. Happy 160 years. For me, being a South African Indian is extremely important because I really love both identities, particularly my South African identity. And what I love about my country is the inclusivity. And for that, I am very grateful, and I love working in the industry that I work in, which is television and film. So a happy 160 years!
Hello. Namaste, Namaskar, Vanakkam, Assalamu Alaikum, Namaskaram, Jai Shri Krishna. I'm Vikash Mathura, actor, writer, producer, businessman, but most importantly, a proudly South African Indian who's a husband and a father. As we reflect on 160 years of the arrival of our forefathers as indentured laborers to South Africa, we have much to be proud of as a community. We continue to contribute to the South African multicultural society and to various sectors of industry. But let us not forget to continue to teach the values of our culture and our heritage to the younger generations. From my family to yours, lots of love. Namaste.
Hello everyone. My name is Kubeshan Naidu. Our forefathers landed here 160 years ago with the promise of a better life and riches. Amidst great suffering and hardship, we as a community have flourished way beyond our great-grandfathers would ever have imagined. This ability to survive and prosper has made us an integral part of every sphere in this great country of ours. We have built a strong culture of endeavor by insisting on and encouraging the importance of education, the vital need for charity, the importance of family, and maintaining our identity as an Indian diaspora whilst inculcating all the rich heritage of the South African culture. It is with a solid foundation that we can move forward with pride and verve and continue to build and prosper despite any obstacles thrown at us. Remember, whatever we do, keep our forefathers in mind. Thank you.
Vanakkam, Namaste, Assalamu Alaikum, and how's it everybody? I'm Mervyn Pillay. I'm a proudly South African of Indian origin, and I'm a proud descendant of the indentured laborer. 16 November marks the 160th anniversary of the arrival of Indians to South Africa. A significant milestone in the South African calendar and a part of history that I'm very proud of. I've heard many stories regarding the arrival of our forefathers and foremothers, especially the stories about the first two ships, the Truro from Madras, which brought all the Tamil and Telugu speaking folk, and the Belvedere from Calcutta, which brought all the Hindi speaking folk. I cannot imagine the pain and suffering endured by each and every one during this arduous journey across the black waters. Only a hanging on to the hope of a better life. I guess it was only faith, spirit and prayers that would have kept them alive during this journey, and perhaps tradition and culture would have saw them through day in and day out, which only makes me think that the South Indians, would have probably doing kolatam just to keep their spirits high, and the ayahs, the ammas, the parties would have been cooking all the sumptuous meals that we enjoy today, the recipes that I have brought from the motherland, like boti, atkal, mulanak, aptele, idli, rasam, vedes, sour porridge, and the mamas and the tatas and all the uncles would have been playing tani on the ship and maybe shooting on the side a little bit, and I could only perhaps on the top of their voices calling chori while they're playing tani, 10, 20, 30, and perhaps one of the uncles had his finger in his nose and someone shouted out Mariels on diamonds, and you never know what happened after that. As for the ship from Calcutta, the Belvedere, who brought all the Hindi-speaking folk, I could only imagine that the nanis and the mamis and the ajis would have been rolling puri, roti, making rot, aloo and beans, and the children playing guli danda, the uncles singing Ganga Maya and Samundar Maya, and also shooting maybe in the cargo hold. Hence, it's evolved into the car boot today, what we see. One could not forget the passenger Indians, the traders and merchants from the Gujarati, Memon, Kokni, and the Surti communities who have come here and set up shop and filled with supplies and catered for the larger Indian community, and those kind of businesses have grown leaps and bounds, and thanks to the Gujarati community for the Bani Chow, I would say, and the Garba, of course. And time to time I've heard people say that we didn't come here as indentured laborers, we came here as free passengers and traders. That's okay. We may have come in different ships, but one thing for sure is that we're all in the same boat here. So I'm very proud of that. No matter what your contribution is or was or it's going to be. To our forefathers and foremothers, thank you for your faith and courage, your sacrifices and your contributions by building schools, places of worship, and welfare organizations. You have created opportunities and paved the way for the many generations after you, and we thank you for this. And I pray and hope that the current generation continue the legacy you have left behind. To my Indian brothers and sisters, no matter what your social standing is, qualifications or religious beliefs, happy 160 years of existence and achievements. Nandri, Dhanyavad, Shukran, thank you.
160 years. 160 years. And I think to myself often, whether our ancestors on those ships ever imagined that we would be living on this beautiful African continent 160 years. 160 years. 1,600,000 tears. 1,600,000 smiles, and infinite achievements and accomplishments in this place we call home. As we think about the 160-year commemoration coming up next week, I think it should fill us with a strength and a dignity and a sense of pride in what we've managed to accomplish since then. Has it been easy? No. I think about the women on those ships and what they had to endure, our mothers. And when we speak of our history, when we speak about our foremothers and our forefathers, how much we have to be proud of. I am a product of these ancestors. I am a product of people like Fatima Mir and Dr. Gunam and Rahima Musa and Sophie de Brains and Lillian Ngoyi and Albertina Susulu, and proudly so. In many of them have rooted my activism, my need to want to make a difference in our world. Equally inspired academically by people like Dr. Betty Govindan, Judge Navi Pillay, United Nations Human Rights Judge, Dr. Devi Rajab, so many women who've excelled and achieved so much to inspire us. But equally, the women who toil in our fruit and vegetable markets and continue to do so. The women who lead in education and inspire us to build a nation. It is because of women in education that today I am working in education myself at the Center for Fine Art, Animation and Design, founded by Dr. Nanda Subban in the dawn of our democracy, 1994. Emerging from a history of colonialism as well as apartheid sometimes leads to confusion about our identity. Who are we? For me, I think it is beautiful to be able to embrace all the aspects of what makes us who we are, what our identity is. And so I'm equally proud of my Indian culture as I am of my African culture. I don't see them to be disconnected from each other. I am proud to call myself a person of color and a black person in the ideology of people like Steve Biko, Srini Moodley, Sats Cooper, Sam Woodley, and all of these brilliant people that strove to bring together a nation that is focused on quality, on dignity, and on freedom. As we approach 160 years, there is so much to celebrate about our culture as human beings. We celebrate our culture, we celebrate our heritage, we remember our history. But our humanity is what I am most proud of. Our service to mankind, to humanity. Our commitment to the poor in a country with the largest gap or mountain between the rich and the poor in the world. Of that, I am exceedingly proud. I am also extremely proud of the way we tell our stories. From the writers amongst us, to the poets, to the playwrights. It's one of the reasons I co-founded Womandla, which is a vibrant collection of women's writing in English and isiZulu. I want to read to you a portion, an extract of writing by Mayuri Govender, which I thought was really beautiful and reflective of our Indian culture. This is, of course, Womandla 1, and I'm going to be reading to you from Womandla 2. Mayuri says, in a story called Saris and Marigolds, we're a culture of elaborate ceremonies, awe-reverent rite in life and death. We speak and walk in numbers while we announce anecdotes and cry in happiness and sadness. In death, Western culture could be forgiven for perceiving us rude. When we lean into the deceased in earnest, how could they know that us whispering our sweet goodbyes are the most mannered farewell we could ever offer our lost loved ones? We hope they take it away with them. It is incredibly important for us to celebrate those who have passed, but also to remember that they have passed the beacon and the baton on to us. We still have a role to play in building this country, in strengthening democracy, in respecting human rights. So as we approach 160 years next week, I want to say thank you to the organizers of this brilliant initiative, this video project, the South African Indians group, which is on Facebook, as well as organizations like the 1860 Heritage Center and South African History Online, for reminding us of our history, for celebrating our present, and for developing a vision for the future, a vision that is based on Ubuntu. Or Umuntu Gumuntu Gabantu, I am because you are. Remember, Manava Seva, Madhava Seva. Service to humanity is service to God. To my Hindu family who are celebrating Diwali, Deepavali next week, may this festival of light and beauty bring radiance to you, however you are celebrating with your family next week. I greet you with a revolutionary peace. Salam, Namaste, Vanakkam, Sanbonani.
When I think about the 160th anniversary, I think about the courage it takes to make a life for yourself so far away from the place of your birth. Courage, resilience, resourcefulness, and most of all, immense optimism. May we never forget their example, their legacy, and their lessons.
Hey, I'm Vanessa Govender, also known as Vanessa Tedder. I'm the author of the best-selling memoir Beaten But Not Broken, and also the children's book The Selfish Shongololo. We're marking 160 years since the arrival of the first Indians on South African soil. And what an incredible journey it has been. All these years later, looking back at the indignity our forefathers had to endure for being brown, for being foreign, for being slave laborers, yet they worked, they persisted, they were determined, resolute, they endured, so that we and all those who may come after them would have a far better life than the dusty rural villages from whence they came in India. And I am thankful and I am grateful. There is no better place on this planet that I would rather be than here in South Africa. And there is no one else I would rather be than a South African of Indian origin. I am the descendant of a slave laborer. My great-grandfather, Thamburin Gounden, came to South Africa as a laborer, and he was one of the founding members of a very famous temple in Ketamana called the Sri Gengayaman Temple, which attracts thousands and thousands of worshippers every single year. I don't think for one second the late Mr. Gounden or his children, or even my parents for that matter, could have foreseen how their lives would change, how their hard work would pave the way for an incredible, resilient race and group of people who have endured, who have survived through the darkest days of apartheid, who have triumphed through democracy, who have made it through a global pandemic and still live to tell the tale. Yes, many of us may have lost loved ones during this year, and we will often look back at it with pain, with anguish, and it has no doubt been a traumatic time for all of us. But here we are, you, me, our families, here we are, still reaping the legacy, reaping the hard work of those sugarcane laborers, of those indentured laborers. And the only way I think we can pay tribute to them and honor their legacy is to ensure that we remain committed to their ideals of a better life, to their hopes, to their aspirations, and create an even bigger, better environment, community and country so that all who live in it may thrive and survive. But my message is more specifically aimed towards women, South African women of Indian origin. Those of us now, we stand and we speak out. We stand in our truth. We speak out. We pave the way for other women, the women that are daughters and their daughters who will come after them. None of us have inherited the silence of our grandmothers and our great-grandmothers, certainly who have endured trauma and humiliation, the indignity of being brown and of being female. Two curses, really. And here we are, look at us, standing in our truth, speaking out our truth, unashamed, unapologetic even, and I think it's an amazing, incredible thing. And we are not here to squander those opportunities, those chances that were given to us, that was worked for so hard by those that came before us. And I urge you, wherever you are in this beautiful country, whoever you might be, to honor and pay tribute to those who came before us, not just by rhetoric, but by action too. We are recognized. Many of us within our community are recognized, not just in this country, but globally, for our philanthropy, for our academics, for leading the way in fields of economics, in business, culture, literacy. You know, we're there, we're at the forefront, because that is who those laborers intended for us to be. And I don't think they could have foreseen, though, the great heights to which we've come. So for me and my multiracial family, to you and yours, I wish you well. And I celebrate the fact that I am South African. I celebrate the fact that I am South African of Indian origin. And I say to you, our work is not done. We are not done. Thank you.
Hi guys, it's Thashanaika, and it's truly an honor and a privilege to be a part of the video collection and add my voice as we're celebrating 160 years of the arrival of the first indentured laborers to South African soil. Now, as I reflect back on the 160 years and think of the evolution of our community, it makes me proud to say that we as an Indian community have a truly resilient spirit, because we came to this country under such difficult circumstances. We came here as laborers. We toiled for long hours in the hot sun planting sugarcane. But we used those experiences just like the alchemist and took every experience and transformed it into such a golden opportunity. Our great-great-grandparents must have been so scared as they traveled across the world to a land of so much of uncertainty. I can't imagine the emotional status, how they must have felt leaving behind their loved ones. But they made those sacrifices in hope for a better future. Their sacrifices is the reason that we are living in such abundance. You know, our Indian community have added great value to South Africa. We've helped turn the wheels of justice in ensuring a democratic South Africa. Our great-great-grandparents have raised some of the great giants, the architects, the poets, the writers, the entrepreneurs, the doctors, the lawyers. We have so much to be proud of and so much to celebrate, because we as an Indian community have come a long way. As we celebrate 160 years, please let us remember the great sacrifices that those individuals who got onto that ship, what they have done and the sacrifice they have made. Let us continue to honor and respect their memory and continue proving to be great, successful Indian South Africans, adding value to this beautiful country. God bless.
Namaste, salam, vanakkam, shalom, dumilam, saubona. I'm Shiloh Wood, brand ambassador for Perfect Shade Cosmetics, founder and manufacturer of the Shiloh Beauty range of cosmetics. As an ex-registered nurse, midwife, and neonatal ICU sister, I discovered my passion to serve humanity by pursuing my love for making women beautiful and creating my own range of cosmetics that was affordable yet addressed all skin and hormone related problems that are on the increase because of genetically modified foods, climate change, and genetic factors that most brands have not factored into their products. Not only did I include skincare into my formula, but I created a revolutionary line filling effect that takes years off your face. My journey to the present has been a painful yet rewarding experience that I will share in my book that I'm currently rewriting. My purpose is to serve women, and today, as a South African Indian, I want to commemorate and honor our journey from bondage to freedom, as this year, 2020, marks the 160th anniversary of the arrival of the first indentured laborers or sugarcane farmers, our forefathers, to South Africa. The first Indians arrived as slaves in 1684 during the Dutch colonial era. This practice of slavery continued until the end of slavery in 1838. In the second half of the 19th century, Indians came to South Africa in two categories, namely as indentured workers in 1860 and later as free or passenger Indians. Between 1860 and 1911, when the system of indentured laborers stopped, nearly 152,000 laborers from India arrived in Natal. After serving their indentures, the first category of Indians were free to remain in South Africa or return to India. Nearly 27% returned to India, but most chose to stay and thus constituted the forebearers of the majority of present-day South African Indians. The journey from bondage to freedom was a barbaric and cruel one, but much credit, respect, and acknowledgement goes to our respected passive resistance lawyer, politician, social activist, and writer, Mr. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, a leader who favored truth, honesty, and simplicity. We also honor, commemorate, and cherish our beloved and late President, Mr. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, in this epic journey to non-violent defiance against the apartheid regime. Being of Indian origin myself, I remember childhood memories of not being allowed to go to certain beaches, restaurants, and even public benches that were for the different race groups. In the past, traveling to another province was a tedious task of obtaining a permit that allowed non-whites only a 5-day visit to that province, as opposed to present day with just a click of a button to booking a flight. My great-grandfather was one of the indentured laborers who was highly skilled in many ways, and one of his skills was smelting metal, and thus the legacy of manufacturing several metallic products was born, one of which is the famous tawa, a product created and distributed nationwide by my grandfather, Mr. Bajrat Singh, better known as Chico Singh. This Indian griddle is well known in any Indian home, and I give credit to my grandfather for instilling this deep desire for innovation, creativity, and ambition. But more than that, he instilled a deep desire to serve humanity. To the youth and younger generation, I truly hope this brief insight to the journey of our forefathers inspires you to do more, achieve more, and serve more. Our forefathers came to serve so that we could have a better future. Let us honor that heritage by committing to fulfilling our purpose and serving humanity according to the gifts and talents you were blessed with. The current generation have been blessed with technology that our forefathers did not even dream of. I pray that this privilege will outweigh any complacency and will motivate you to achieve successes beyond your wildest dreams. I am living proof that you can rise higher than you could ever imagine after being broken, hated, defamed, slandered, and used for sensationalism for media ratings. I leave you with this message of hope, love, and respect to all. Love, Shiloh Wood.
Hello, my name is Kamini Patha, and you might recognize me because I won MasterChef South Africa back in 2013. Since then, I've been the host and producer on a SAFTA award-winning TV show called Girl Eat World, which means that I got to travel to 10 different international destinations and eat everything. It was amazing. So besides the SAFTA, Girl Eat World was also broadcast on Netflix North America and is currently still traveling the world on the Discovery World channel. Besides all of that stuff, I'm also the product of indenture, and I stand here as a proud South African Indian to celebrate 160 years since our people came to this country. So you can find me on social media at Kamini Patha on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and you can follow my travels. What I'll be working on next is in a couple of weeks I'll be releasing a cookbook. It will be an ebook, and what I've done is I've used my experience from traveling the world and I've sort of mishmashed them with my heritage food, because during lockdown I got to eat with my mother and my grandmother, which I haven't done in many years, and I got to really experience Indian food, but I wanted to add a more global lens to it. Next year I'll be working on a new TV project which is based in South Africa, because as much as we have Indian heritage, we are South African and we are African. So follow me at Kamini Patha on everything you can possibly imagine. Congratulations to all of us.
1947, Bunny Chow was already being sold. The merchant class of Indians are always known as Banyas, that means merchants. I'm not sure, I'm guessing that the word came from that Banya into Bunny Chow. There are other people who will tell you differently. Maybe they are right and I'm wrong. But this is my assumption that it comes from Banyas, Bunny Chow.
With my fingers. That's the only way to eat a bunny. Not with a knife and fork, but with your fingers.
The whole point of having a bunny chow, the bread's there to soak up the gravy. So if you have the fork and knife, you're not going to actually be getting every bit of gravy on the plate.
It depends on the mood. I mean, if I'm in a relaxed and I'm not working, I use my hands. And if I'm at work, you know, I will obviously use a fork and knife.
"160 years on, and I'm prouder than ever of my heritage. Our forefathers have left behind a legacy that has stood the test of time. They've taught us to strive for greatness while still remaining humble. They've taught us to embrace diversity while still being proud of our unique culture. 160 years on, Indians still have a vital role to play in nation building in our beautiful rainbow nation. I am Rakhi Bikram, and I am prouder than ever to be a South African Indian."
Hey, congratulations fellow South Africans on this milestone 160th anniversary. A big shout out to our forefathers and mothers for all the opportunities that they have enabled for our generations. If you are watching this, then you like me are a proud Indian, and I'm sure also a proud South African. Proud, but never forgetful of our humble beginnings. The achievements of the Indian community cannot be disputed, and this is truly reflected in the legacy that has been established over the past 160 years. I believe that the Indian legacy, however, also needs to be reflective of our contribution to the greater African dream, a dream that in huge parts remains unfulfilled. I look forward to the continuation of this dream and remain proudly South African. Congratulations.
Hi, my name is Sheetal Navan. I'm from the company Ennis. My grandfather, Mr. Natal had made his way from India to South Africa many moons ago. He decided that fabrics and fashion were his forte. Hence the legacy of Ennis lives through at Ennis Amschlager. We are at Shop 4A, ground floor, Royal Palm Hotel, opposite the gateway, 031 566 4378. We are proudly South African and proud of our heritage, proud of the fact that we have brought Indian culture and fashion to your doorstep. We have serviced many generations of women and families and are proud of the fact that we've made it this far. We at Ennis would like to say and wish you and your family a very happy Diwali. Let's keep the light burning. Thank you.
Indians have played a pivotal role in the country's history, and this year we celebrate 160 years of Indians in South Africa. Having come here as slaves, the community have grown and developed into strong, tenacious people that have overcome the obstacles they have faced. At Kit Kat Cash and Carry, we are proud to be part of this story as one of the oldest Indian businesses in Pretoria and now one of the largest wholesale businesses in the province. As we commemorate this auspicious occasion, we encourage you to always remember the past and celebrate the future.
Assalamu alaikum. We as South African Indians would love to congratulate the success of the Indians in this country. We've played a major role in every aspect of this country, and I think we still do play a major role. There's a lot that we can do as a community in supporting the growth and development of this country. We are not yet the biggest economical supporter of the country, but we are definitely a major player, and there's huge scope for us to continue with growth. There's a lot that we do from a development point of view as Indians in this country, and a lot of it is not seen in this country. As much as I'm proud to be a South African Indian, I am more proud to be a patriotic South African. So I think race and religion needs to be put behind us, and we need to work together with all our South African patriots to develop this country further.
What I'm going to say, we will learn the principles and values of life. This Chancellor's Medal is not because of me. It's because of the teams that work with me. It's because of my family sacrifice, and it's because of a great teacher. It was the 6th of August, 1992. I was in Turkey, in Istanbul. I met a spiritual teacher, a Sufi master, in a Muslim holy place. What was amazing about that holy place is that there were people of all cultures, all religions, Christians, Jews, Hindus, Muslims, and even people who said, we don't believe, but they were not judged. They were welcomed with open arms, and everyone was shown love and compassion. It was something very amazing. I fell in love with the teacher the moment I saw him. It was a spiritual connection. That same night at 10 p.m., after a religious ceremony, in the Sufi tradition we call it Zikr. Zikr is the recitation of God's names in a certain combination. We have the names in Arabic, but in English we'll say the eternal, absolute, one and only, preserver, loving, kind, compassionate, merciful. All God's names mentioned in Arabic in a certain combination. After that ceremony, the teacher looks across the room at me. Whilst he's connecting with my eyes and my soul, he's connecting upwards also. So I can see that whilst he's looking at me, he's somewhere else at the same time. He tells me in fluent Turkish, and I don't understand a word of Turkish. But I understood every single word that he said. And he said, my son, I'm not asking you. I'm instructing you to form an organization. In Arabic, the name will be Waqful Waqifin. Translated, it means gift of the givers. You will serve all people of all races, of all religions, of all colors, of all cultures, of all classes, of any geographical location, and of any political affiliation. But you will serve them unconditionally. You will not expect anything in return, not even a thank you. In fact, in what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life, expect to get a kick up your back. If you don't get a kick up your back, regard that as a bonus. He said, serve people with love, kindness, compassion, mercy, and remember, the dignity of man is foremost. So if someone is down in the ground, don't push him down further. Hold him and lift him up. Wipe the tear of a grieving child. Say words of good counsel to a widow, or caress the head of an orphan. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. Provide food to the hungry and water to the thirsty. And in everything that you do, be the best at what you do. Not because of ego, but because you're dealing with human life, human suffering, and human emotions. How would you like somebody to respond to you if you were on the other side in that position? If you can honestly answer that question, then you would know how to serve people. He went on to say, Khairun nas man yanfa'un nas. Translated meaning, best among people are those who benefit mankind. And he repeated it 3 times. He said, my emphasis is on the word mankind, not Muslim, not Arab, not Indian. You serve all of creation unconditionally. And then he went on to say, my son, remember the most important thing in all this. Remember that whatever you do is done through you and not by you. And everything in life you achieve is only by the grace of God Almighty and not by our sheer genius. Because even that is given by Him. We cannot manufacture that. That's the most important lesson you need to learn in life, brothers and sisters. And then he went on to say, now go back to your country. This is an instruction for you for the rest of your life. It's a great milestone that we are in this country for 160 years. Our great-grandfathers, grandfathers, parents have all made a huge contribution to this country through educational institutions, hospitals, clinics, support centers, homes. The new generation has to carry on with this kind of initiative. At Gift of the Givers, we are witnesses and mindful of the support we have received from the Indian community throughout the country. We thank you for that support, and we encourage you to instill that goodwill and the generous nature in the children, so we continue helping people across race, religion and color in our country. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, Maharaj here, Chairperson of Food for Life Midrand. Just a short note to congratulate my fellow South African Indians on the celebration of our 160th arrival in this beautiful country. Yes, it's been an interesting 160 years for us, but we have risen to the highest echelons of all spheres of society, be it public sector, private sector, academia, etc. This has not been an easy feat for us, considering all the difficulties our forefathers and we have had to endure. But nonetheless, our fighting spirit endured, and we are one of the most successful population groups in South Africa. We are also very proud of what Food for Life does in South Africa as well. Food for Life globally is the largest feeding program. In South Africa, we feed over 20,000 meals per day. At Midrand, we are serving over 500 meals per day, and we are endeavoring to uplift our fellow South Africans to create a more equitable society. With that short note, I once again would like to congratulate all of you and enjoy the well-deserved celebrations. Thank you very much.
Greetings, dear brothers and sisters. I'm Kit Shetty, Marketing Manager of the Aryan Benevolent Home. 16th November 2020 marks the 160th anniversary of the arrival of the first Indian indentured laborers to South Africa. Facing great adversities and racial discrimination, our forefathers worked hard to establish a permanent place for themselves in this country. The ABH also celebrates a significant event as we prepare for our centenary milestone on 1st May 2021. The ABH firmly believes in the motto of caring, sharing and serving, and in working together in all the home's activities. Teamwork is what makes things happen at the ABH. The history of the ABH began on a cold winter's night in Durban in 1918. A good Samaritan, Mr. D.G. Satyaveda, was on his way from work when he witnessed a policeman beating a homeless old man for taking shelter overnight in a public toilet. Horrified by what he saw and inspired by the teaching of the Arya Samaj movement, Mr. Satyaveda engaged the support of Pundith V.C. Nanya Raj and Mr. S.L. Singh, and they resolved to provide a home for the city's neediest. 3 years later, in May 1921, the first Home for the Homeless opened its doors in Ketamana under the name Arya Anath Ashram, which loosely translated as Aryan Benevolent Home. Soon it became a refuge for the elderly, physically challenged and chronically ill people in need of residential care. Today, 99 years later, the ABH has grown into a national body with footprints in KwaZulu-Natal, Gauteng and the Western Cape, and continues with the vision and commitment of its founders and all those who tirelessly over the past century worked to carry forward this proud legacy. Limitless credit for the sustained success of the ABH must undoubtedly go to Bhaishashibal Rambilass, who dedicated his life to this institution. He developed the ABH from an ordinary wood and iron building to a beautiful home for the less privileged. Although our home faces numerous challenges, we continue to help South Africa's most vulnerable people. As a national non-profit organization, we shelter, educate, counsel, provide healthcare and love to children, the aged, destitute, needy, and the non-ambulant. We are always planning ahead. Recently, we submitted our application to become an independent co-ed primary school. As part of this vision, there are plans to set up a gymnasium, an outdoor astroturf sports court, improvements to the existing swimming pool facility, and an indoor lifestyle center.
Due to the financial challenges we are facing, we have implemented cost-saving measures which include harvesting rainwater, using borehole water, along with the necessary purification and filtration equipment, and generating solar energy. People are at the heart of everything we do, and this is what drives our staff and our ABH Council to always serve with love. We appreciate the wonderful heritage that our forefathers have left behind since they arrived in South Africa. We celebrate their bravery and their determination to overcome numerous obstacles, and we admire their numerous achievements. To all our supporters, thank you for helping the ABH during this incredibly challenging time. Keep well and keep safe.
As we celebrate 160 years of heritage, when we landed on the shores of our great country, what is embedded and synonymous with our forefathers is that they toiled the land with their hands, which chiseled our future. So too is Seva Hands, synonymous with the practice of hard work with one's hands that has been inculcated and acculturated in our philosophy and societal work.
Seva Hands' mission is to positively impact our community. We have approached various schools within our community to find out what the need is within the schools. We've identified between 275 to 500 kids who come to school without food or sandwiches. By making a decision to exercise the power of collective efforts, Seva Hands now distributes sandwiches to these kids. We are trying to uplift our community. Seva Hands' mission is to empower and educate and uplift these kids so they can make a difference within society.
So with the onset of COVID-19, we were heartbroken that children were not getting their school lunches. And we felt that there was so much more that we could have done. So we then turned our attention to the indigent families that required hampers. And together with our network, we were able to provide hampers to these families. In addition to that, we supported frail care homes as well as children's homes. We were so blessed to have received hundreds of loaves of bread a week, and we generously and happily gave it to the homes, to the schools, and used it in our hampers. In conjunction with our belief of Deepavali being a festival more than just a Hindu festival, but a festival of celebrating light over darkness, we had set about doing our annual Diwali hamper drive last week. And in doing this drive, we brought joy to 150 families. Our network had amazingly supported us with sponsorships and donations. We were able to give over 20 items in these hampers. And that just contributed to this feeling of warmth, of generosity, and of giving. Our passion for sharing is what has fueled this project.
Our aim at Seva Hands is to allow for people to come together to find a platform through which they can actually perform these services. And we have invited them to be sponsors and donors and volunteers of their time, of their energy, of their resources, to contribute positively to the projects that we undertake. To invite everyone else and to inspire everyone else to start up their own projects within their own communities. It simply starts with a sandwich. The sandwich makes such a difference to a child going to school with little or nothing. And by doing so, we encourage. And when you feed a child, you feed a nation. Because that child is then able to perform to his or her fullest potential and make a big difference in society at large. So we would like to provide a platform for everybody to come through and to make a difference.
Seva is Sanskrit word associated with selflessness. But we at Seva Hands feel it's a combined effort with everybody, with your community, with your friends, with your family, to make it a selfless uplift, to make a positive impact. I think our main motivation is not only for us to have Seva Hands, but to every community to have a small piece of Seva Hands. And with that, together we are Seva Hands.
What is incredibly profound of the women of Seva Hands is that they are not afraid of rolling back their sleeves, getting into the trenches, and getting their hands dirty as they lead from the front to serve all communities without compromise, bias, and prejudice. Seva Hands is indeed love in action.
Namaste. As we commemorate the 160th year of the arrival of Indian settlers to South Africa, I reflect and am in great gratitude to them for their contribution and sacrifices that were made in the past. Through their sacrifices, we today have achieved so much in South Africa, and truly proud of how far we have come. I remember as a little girl, my mum, Srimati Draupadi Singh, introduced me to Indian dance at the age of 6, where I went to a little studio and learned Bharatanatyam under my guru, Jayalakshmi Naidu. During the course of my teenage years, I learned dances through movies, films. I was inspired and wanted to learn it further. I was fortunate to have studied folk dances under Shankar Ganguly that visited South Africa and was brought by the Surat Association, where we traveled South Africa doing folk dances of India. And there my love for folk dances grew. Later I received training from visiting artists as the band slowly opened, and was fortunate to have seen my late guru, Natal Gopie Krishna, perform at Durban City Hall stage. He encouraged me to follow and come to India and learn the art properly. While I was at university, I was fortunate my parents were able to send me to India to study, and I did a course in Kathak dance. Thereafter I did dance exams and came back and opened Nateshwar Dance Academy, which still exists 40 years later. We now celebrate 40 years of Kathak dance in South Africa. It is the first and oldest school of Kathak dance in South Africa. We now have 3 branches in 3 cities, Durban, Joburg and Cape Town. From my mom, who was a dancer and a scholar of Hindi, her art and her interest in dance was passed on to me. I have passed on this interest to my daughter Ruhi, and I'm hoping it will continue to go on for generations to come. So I am in great gratitude to our forefathers, and will always be grateful to my mum for having introduced me to this great art form of Indian classical dance. Presently, I have been able to start an association, SIDA, South African Indian Dance Alliance, with a group of our veteran dance gurus, and we're hoping that we would be able to take dance to a different level and to be on stage with artists, international artists, share the stage with international artists in the future. So we have big plans, and dance will continue to prosper in South Africa.
मेरे देश की धरती सोना उगले उगले हीरे मोती मेरे देश की धरती सोना उगले उगले हीरे मोती मेरे देश की धरती मेरे देश की धरती मेरे देश की धरती.
Namaste, I am Kiran Kishore. The South African Indian community this year celebrates 160 years of the arrival of Indentured Indians to South Africa. We have made great strides in the field of finance, education, arts and culture, community welfare, sciences, medicine, and just about every other facet that makes up the fabric of this great country. I hail from a little town on the north coast of KwaZulu-Natal known as Westville. It's famous for a lot of very funny reasons. But on the more serious side, we were blessed to have the great Mahatma Gandhi set foot right here. during the time that he struggled for the independence of us as a group. To this day, there is the Shri Gopala temple, which was officially opened by Mahatma Gandhi, and it's there as a constant reminder for us, open to everybody from every community to come and see that this was the place in which the Mahatma himself set foot. So, subsequent to that, there's been a lot of achievements by a lot of people. The economy of this town was built by the Indian people, and the economy of several little towns in and around Natal have been built by the same. So we're also famous for the Lauderdale market, and people travel far and wide to come to do their shopping. 30 years ago, I began my musical career. I was born in this town alongside my siblings and the rest of my family. We hail from here and we still live here. And it's grown more progressive and beautifully. And I think I will be here for a long time to come. I started my musical career when I was still in school, and now, 30 years later, I head up a group called Kalakar Music Productions. And I'm proud to say that we are the only South African Bollywood group. It's a fully acoustic Bollywood group. We don't have any electronic instruments in our group. So, having toured extensively and performed many concerts, we hope to continue to bring you our brand of music in the form of bhajans, ghazals, golden melodies, Punjabi songs, Sufi, Qawwali, and the likes. I've also been involved in some international work, collaborations with musicians from other countries, and I'm fortunate that I've been blessed to have the Guru Sri Jalota, who has taken me under his wing. I've traveled and performed a whole lot of him. So this is my little contribution. This is my little bit of achievements, and collectively, us as South Africans, each one of us have a rich story to tell about how we've come 160 years later to be in this country and carved our place to be here. So on this grand occasion of 160 years, I'd like to wish all of the South Africans all over South Africa and those that have moved overseas, born here in South Africa and moved overseas, I'd like to wish all of you all the very best and congratulate you for all of the achievements that you have acquired to now. Wishing you well for myself, Keith Mishwara, Kalakar Music Productions team. Namaste.
Namaste and good evening. Firstly, my sincere thanks goes to Avish Bhogal and his committee for allowing me this opportunity. 160 years ago, this day, 16 November 1860, our forefathers arrived on the ship Churo in South Africa to work as indentured laborers on the sugarcane plantation. Our forefathers indeed had a very difficult trip to South Africa. The treatment they received during the trip was deplorable. There were no bedding whatsoever supplied to our forefathers. From what I have been told, most of our forefathers slept on the open deck and dormitory style of accommodation. Food supply to our forefathers was of poor standard. They were treated with no respect. But through the difficult struggle and sacrifice, our forefathers laid an immense, rich cultural and spiritual foundation for us Indians in South Africa. They brought along the unique and treasured musical instrument with them and passed the talent to the generation that followed. To all South African Indians, my best wishes to you on our 160th anniversary.
Hi, this is Ashlyn Govender. As we all know, this year commemorates 160 years since the arrival of Indians in South Africa. Together we have grown from strength to strength and have carved a niche for ourselves in society. Let us always embrace our culture, heritage and tradition, and never forget the struggles that our forefathers have been through to get us where we are today. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish each and every one of you well. Let us continue the excellent work that we are doing and always be proud to call ourselves South African Indians. Take care and stay safe.
Good afternoon everybody, this is Mercedes-Benz. I feel privileged to say a few words on this special event where we celebrate the arrival of our forefathers 160 years ago. I think on this occasion we should actually reflect and say thanks to all of the sacrifices that have been made in order for the Indians in South Africa to lead a much better and prosperous life. We have many successes to be proud of. I believe the Indian community have made their mark in the South African business world, finance, education, medical field and the arts and music as well. So to the generations that are basically living in a very different South Africa that many of us have grown up, one needs to be cognizant of this fact of the hard work ethic that our forefathers had, and that is one of the pillars of our success in the country. I would like to wish everybody all the best on this occasion, and thank you. Go well, be safe.
Hi, I'm Rajiv Mohan of House of Audio. Together as South African artists, we have made great strides in music and have contributed towards a better country. Remember, every small step towards success contributes to a better future for all of us. Keep making music, it is the soundtrack of your life. Visit my website and my Facebook page for more information on our services and activities. Thank you.
Indians in South Africa have contributed significantly, both socially, politically, and economically. And in celebrating our 160 years, I'd like to pay a short tribute to my dad, the late legendary Papwa Sewgolum. And coming from an impoverished background, he rose against all odds to make it on the international circuit as a golfing professional. The situation in South Africa didn't allow him to play here for many years, and it was sad though that Europe allowed South Africa entry into those tournaments before they could allow him to play here. And as a caddy growing up in a little shanty town area of Riverside, he plied his trade as a caddy and then went on to become a playing professional. But the significant part of his life was that he went on to win international tournaments, that is the Dutch Open, on 3 occasions. And making a contribution as an Indian on the European tour was unheard of in those days. And had he been given the same opportunities as everybody else, he would have gone on to win many, many more international tournaments. But the sad reality was that when he was eventually allowed to play here in Durban in 1963, they still wouldn't allow him into the clubhouse, they wouldn't allow him to use the facilities. And be it as it may, on that particular day in 1963, it poured with rain. And after winning the tournament, he wasn't allowed to receive his prize inside, even though it was pouring with rain. He had to receive his check and the winner's trophy outside Durban Country Club. Then in 1965, when he was given an opportunity to play in the Natal Open, he went on to win that for the second time. And this time, there was a player of significant note by the name of Gary Player, and Gary Player by that time had won all the majors and was, renowned and probably labeled as one of the best golfers in the world. My dad winning that tournament in 1965 brought a lot of shame to the apartheid government, and in 1966 he was then banned from playing in any tournaments, and that ban was lifted much later. So his contribution during that era when he was allowed to play was very significant, and being an Indian and pursuing a sport that was reserved for the whites, it became even more difficult and challenging for him, because very often he was the only person of color in that field when he played. So just a short message to those that want to pursue their dreams: don't let these little challenges and these obstacles get in your way. Chase your dream, go out there, and you will make a significant difference. Thank you.
Apsara Panchu here, Africa's only women world champion, coached by Sanjeev Devi Prasad, having won all 6 out of 6 titles in a single world championship event. I'm an athlete, qualified coach, referee, administrator, chemical engineer, managing director, and a very proud mum. I've had the privilege of meeting, hosting, and challenging the best in the world, like Jeff Dunham, Stephen Henry, Alison Fisher, and Jeanette Lee, respectively. However, the secret to my success has always been knowing and holding on to my roots, especially my parents, who have been that grounding pillar of strength in many people's lives. Like a tree needs its roots to survive, so too do us humans need our parents to continuously sustain our own worthiness in life, which is in turn instilled in our own children to follow suit. Hence, we are proudly South African, and together we celebrate our heritage of 160 years of Indians making our mark in South Africa and the world. Stay safe, never take COVID-19 for granted, and God bless.
In 1976, I had first-hand information of the struggle that the Indians went through. There was a flood at Chintown, and the people were moved to Phoenix before the homes were built, and the schools were just a prefab. I was the first physical education teacher in Phoenix, and I saw how the Indians struggled, getting up early in the morning before sunrise, waiting for the buses, and coming home late at night, long after the children had gone to bed. It was a sad state of affairs, but the Indians struggled through and made a success of their lives.
I just want to say that what you saw in the video was a Rainbow Nation. We worked together to have one goal, and some of them have a goal to be world South African champions. I want to congratulate every one of you for the celebration of 160 years of Indians in South Africa. We better remember we are not alone anymore. We belong to a Rainbow Nation, and we better work hard to work within that sector. I just want to also say that you can also set your goals. We have made huge advancement in every field in the world so far, all over the world, from abject poverty. We have through a hard struggle in our lives, myself included, and not an abject poverty, but because they have the resilience and a goal ahead of us, they have accomplished so much. We must thank our forefathers, our fathers, and everybody else that worked hard and tried to believe in whatever sector they do to put us where we are today. I want to say, well done, keep it up. We can do very much further in our life, and we must set examples for our future generations to come. Thank you.
Hi guys, from a very, very warm and muggy Durban. My name's Keshav Saikola, and I've been asked to make a little contribution towards the commemoration of the arrival of Indians within South Africa, and this year 2020 commemorates 160 years of our forefathers being in South Africa. And while some may say that I have achieved in some of my fields, having represented South Africa internationally with regards to bodybuilding and holding multiple South African bodybuilding and fitness titles, I perhaps may be an inspiration to some out there, but I firmly believe that there are many more amongst us who've outdone me and achieved far more, and who are worthy of being looked up to as role models and inspirations. More especially our forefathers and our parents. So, with regards to these 160 years, there's a few words that come to mind when I think of the experiences and the times that they've gone through. And the first one would be adversity, resilience, positivity, and then lastly being legacy. So, when one thinks of adversity, our forefathers, literally arrived here with nothing but what they could carry, if anything at all, and had to face many, many tough times over the years. And given the current lifestyle, adversity would be leaving home without your charger, or waking up to find that your hair iron doesn't work, and you can't get your hair done for the morning, or getting to the takeaway to get up some ice cream and finding out that the ice cream machine doesn't work. That isn't really adversity. Adversity is the struggles and perils that our forefathers and ancestors had to go through. And we hear of it when the elders speak, and they would speak of having to work hours and hours in the sun, cleaning gardens, cutting grass, to just earn a few cents for the day, growing vegetables, just in a little plot of land, walking kilometers to the market to sell that just for a few cents, just to put food on the table at the end of the day. So throughout all of that struggle, our parents and grandparents, etc., managed to sacrifice and to still remain positive throughout all of that. Because we, above hearing of all of those struggles, we also hear of the good times, of how many a meal was shared amongst family, the simplest of meals, without any grand banquets or meals or fancy functions. It was just that sense of togetherness and pride that everyone shared, and gratitude just to be together and to have something to share and to eat. As much as we have much more now, mainly due to the sacrifices made by our parents and our grandparents, etc., there is something lacking in today's society. And we are fortunate in that our parents and grandparents made, and I speak for my parents specifically, and I'm sure many others, they worked for the betterment of us, to put us through school, give us good educations, in the hope that we would make better lives and make successful lives for ourselves. Sacrificing going on holidays or buying a fancy car or any of that, just for us, for the future. And all of that said, coming back to one of the other words that I mentioned, which was legacy. Leaving a legacy isn't about leaving behind many properties or fancy cars or big trust funds for your next of kin. Leaving a legacy should really be about having people continue to to learn, seek knowledge, and to use that knowledge to inspire and motivate others, to share compassion, to share love. And ultimately, our forefathers would have wanted us to leave a legacy of, one where the sound of your name years down the line evokes a feeling of pride and of, just makes one smile at the thought of all the actions and the impact that you've made on other people's lives. That is what a real lasting legacy is. And if I can leave you guys with just one thought, it's just that be successful by all means. Strive for the best you possibly can, but never ever forget the sacrifices made. Never look down upon anyone else. It's just because somebody speaks differently to you or says, can I have a tumbler of water or a tumbler of mineral, it doesn't make them any less than you. So as a community, especially the Indian community, we need to get out of that mode of thinking where we become derogatory or we degrade those within our community just because of the way they speak or how they dress. Ultimately, remember humanity and remember that we're all just here passing through, and just live your life as best as you possibly can, being as genuine a person as you can. And that would be the greatest tribute to our forefathers. And in closing, just this is just my tribute to and my thank you to all you South African Indians who've been here through this 160 years and have achieved so much and will continue to achieve and continue to inspire. So here's to a wonderful celebration of this 160 years, and here's to many, many more years. Good luck and much love, everyone.
I am the grandson of an indentured laborer who arrived here late in the 1800s. I was told that my grandfather was a 9-year-old boy when he landed on the shores of the Indian Ocean in the kingdom of the Zulu, the port city of Durban, 160 years ago. It is important to note that I am proudly South African of Indian origin. I hail from the port city in terms of ancestorship of Pondicherry, which is about 2 hours drive from the metropolitan city of Chennai, previously known as Madras. Our Indian indentured laborers that came here brought a wealth of experience in terms of culture in particular that is practiced even today. Our Indian culture has stood the test of time, and I'm certain that it will be around for generations to come. Karate is part of that Indian culture because there is a strong belief amidst many others that karate originated from the south of India. Bodhi Dharma, a great saint, took karate as it was practiced then, known as Kalari Payatu or Karmate, to the monks in the monasteries of Tibet in order to arm them with self-defense skills as they were being regularly harassed by normal society. Certainly these self-defense skills must have stood them well in terms of fighting back to maintain their culture of Buddhism. From Tibet, it spread to Okinawa, Tibet, China, Okinawa, the island, and then of course mainland Japan, from where the great Master Gichin Funakoshi, the modern day father of karate, the man perhaps whom we owe the greatest debt to for where karate is today and how extensively it is practiced globally. We must be reminded of his philosophy. He said, I quote, "The ultimate aim of the art of karate lies not in victory or defeat, but in the perfection of the character of its participants." If we are conscious of that philosophical vision that the great Gichin Funakoshi had expressed about 200 years ago, then we will produce sound leadership throughout the globe and credible citizens in our society. Karate is a magnificent vehicle to address the scourge that has besieged our youth of today, which is abuse of drug and alcohol. It is also second to none in terms of a self-defense mechanism. The skills, as you've seen in the demonstration earlier, done by the head of technical affairs for Karate South Africa and myself, it is a skill that one can learn through the art of karate in terms of self-defense that is second to none. Speed, power are all the attributes that arms one against the hostile environment that we currently live in, especially given the high crime rate that we here in South Africa face. I hope the demonstration encourages every adult watching this program to direct their children to the nearest karate club so that the children can be healthy, can improve their self-esteem and become strong so that they can face up to the future as they step out after graduating at high school or university. We look forward to more of our youth of Indian origin to start playing sport, karate in particular. I thank you.
Hey there, you know us as Jody and Prashen.
Did you know 10 years ago we were actually Shankar and Nur Jahan?
And falling in love.
We were a part of an epic feature film that paid tribute to our forebears who came to South Africa as indentured laborers.
But in our innocence, we broke all the rules. Our only escape was to South Africa, where our new lives began.
Today marks 160 years since that historic day.
And we salute the brave women and men who made the journey across the ocean.
You can breathe! Can you breathe?
Our lives changed forever.
To our great-great-grandparents, we want to say thank you for paving the way for us in our beautiful country. You will never be forgotten.
Maya